Order, please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, council, mayor, city treasurer, our deputy clerk, and the audience. This is the City of Romulus City Council regular meeting for Monday, September 25th, 2017. At this time, I'd like to take roll call. Councilwoman Abdo.
Present.
Councilman Barden.
Here.
Councilwoman Choate.
Here.
Councilman Kraut.
Here.
Councilwoman Makowski.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
And Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you.
Tonight's meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda. Number 2, minutes. Number 3, petitioners. Number 4, chairperson's report. 5 is the mayor's report. 6A, clerk's report. 6B is the treasurer's report. 7, public comment. 8, unfinished business. 9, new business. 10, communication. 11 is warrant 17-18, and number 12 is adjournment. And a motion be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Roscoe for approval of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Agenda accepted.
Number 2 are the minutes, and for approval are the minutes from the regular council meeting held on September the 11th, 2017.
So moved for September the 11th, 2015.
Support.
17.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo for approval of the minutes from our regular council meeting, which was held September 11th, 2017. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
There were no special meetings on September the 11th. Takes us now to number 3, petitioners. And under 3A, we have TA 2017-001. This is a zoning ordinance amendment, Article 8, Industrial Districts, Article 11, Use Standards. And I'd like to call up at this time our city planner, Carol Mays.
Thank you. As you know, we've been continuously updating the zoning ordinance, trying to get it codified and cleaned up. And mostly what you're going to see tonight that you have seen in here, all the red, you'll see they're very, very minor revisions. The most significant is probably to the truck fueling stations. We did have an applicant come in and inquire about that, and we noticed, we have gas stations, we call them vehicle service stations, but we call cars vehicles, but we didn't have a separate category for trucks. So that's probably the most significant change in there. All the others are, like I said, just very minor updates. Some of it's formatting, some of it's consistency to make sure that the standards all go, hand in hand with what they're applicable to. So I'll be happy to answer any questions for you on them.
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
Yes, I have a question on Article 11. You talk about use standard exemptions were added for churches, senior living, assisted living.
Yes, in the Central Business District.
Can you explain that? Because we've had issues with use variations of a church and
Absolutely. Our standards right now for senior apartments and senior living, senior assisted living, and for churches all have acreage requirements. And they're quite large, where the CBD is a little bit different. Senior assisted living, for example, the first requirement is, it's on page 1 under section 1.01, the minimum size is 5 acres. Well, in the Central Business District downtown, that's kind of large. And we certainly don't want to discourage senior assisted living there if somebody's got a smaller site. So we basically added a provision that said that acreage requirement can be reduced if determined appropriate by the planning commission. Same thing for churches. Downtown, we've had a few reoccupancies actually for churches, and they can't even come close to meeting the 2 acre requirements in the CBD. Again, out in the other areas, which typically they're the single family neighborhoods, 2 acres is appropriate.
Yes,
So this has nothing to do then with changing the use variation in terms of it being used as a church?
Absolutely not. It
I just
deals,
wanted to
it
make that
deals
clear.
only with qualifying to use a piece of property for a specific use. You have to have the minimum acreage requirement.
any other? Ms. Makowski?
I'll just make a quick note. I thought it was well-written, and thank you for the explanation on that. Just one typo, I'll tell you
Oh,
later. So,
you
because
want?
I
Good.
know if we're approving it, I just want to make
But,
sure.
yep,
That's
please
all.
let me know. That's great.
Yep, that's it.
Any other comments? Okay,
If not, I'll make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve TA 2017-001 zoning ordinance amendments, Article 8, industrial districts, Article 11, use standards.
Support.
it's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Makowski, and this is for the TA 2017-001 zoning ordinance amendments, Article 8 in industrial districts, Article 11 use standards. Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo,
Yes,
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
The petitioners, 3B. We have another petitioner this evening, and this is the RZ-017-004. This is to request approval to rezone 4.7 acres of property located at 37451 Ecorse Road, be from a 01 office district to a C2 general business district. The petitioner this evening is Rasak Badamosi. And Mr. Badamosi, if you can come to the podium, please.
Good day. My name is Razak Badamosi, and I'm the applicant for the rezoning request.
Speak, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now,
Okay.
okay.
My name is Razak Badamosi, and I'm the applicant for this rezoning request.
Any questions?
I guess,
Yeah, Mr. Wadsworth?
are we talking about the credit union building that,
Yes, that's the Parkway Federal Credit Union.
okay,
Over
and
across-
if you get what you want, is there a business that's going to be going in there, or
That's correct.
speculating, or?
We are trying to buy the building and turn it to a banquet hall to serve the neighborhood there.
Okay,
And I
fine.
have a little presentation here. If you
I'd like to
have
see.
a few minutes, I'll walk you through what we intend to do.
Sure.
Any other questions, comments? Huh? Okay,
So if I may,
okay.
I will make the motion.
I think he's going to give us a.
I think
Oh,
you can do
sorry.
a presentation.
There's a presentation,
Oh.
Madam.
Oh, go ahead then. That would
Oh,
be
yeah,
good.
that's what we wait.
Just a little bit about the background.
Sure.
The site is actually located on 37451 Ecos Road, directly across from the GM plant, the powertrain plant. This particular site is currently sports zone as an office. It was originally built for the credit union as a branch there. Because of the downsizing across the street, the services has been reduced and the branch closed in 2012. We want to buy this building and turn it into a banquet hall. Specific information about the site is given here. It's about 5 acres, just a little shy of 5 acres. And most of the property in the front is developed. The back is not developed because there's some wet land area in the back, so it's not being touched at all. The land use basically to the north of the site is industrial. The east is residential. The south of it is undeveloped, and the west is residential. The zoning for that area and the master plan is basically provided for you here. Why are we requesting the rezoning? It's because we want to use it as a banquet hall, and banquet hall is not permitted under the office zoning. As a result, we've submitted a request for it. The intent here is to make sure we are compliant with all of the city's master plan. The application was submitted on August 8th. The ARC meeting was held on the 16th. The plans were reviewed, were submitted on September 1st, and the comments from on the plans have been addressed or will be addressed. All of the items they pointed out are being addressed now. The public hearing was held last week, and the Planning Commission actually listened to that also last week. They've reviewed it last week. The operations for the banquet hall will be mostly in the weekends. There will be other uses during the weekdays and other times, but that will be sporadic. The employees will plan to have their 2 full-time employees in addition to the subcontractors we intend to have there. The event planners, the ushers, security guard, the gardeners, and so on and so forth. Our overall goal again is to turn this used asset into something that will benefit the neighborhood. As a result, we want to make sure all of the things we need to do, complying with the zoning, making sure we have all the paperwork, getting the proper permit to do changes we want to do to the environment there, mostly the door and the entrance to the building is all we need to do. With this project, we want to ensure we offer a desirable facility for the neighbors there, where they can host a baby shower, celebrate birthdays, have anniversaries, graduations for the students. And with that, we intend to make sure the facility benefits all the various demographics we have in the neighborhood, both the adult students, parents, expecting mothers, and of course, if we have an unforeseen situation, an environment to console neighbors if they've lost any loved ones. We intend to leverage and enhance the property so that it in turn benefit the neighborhood. And with that, we are creating a vibrant and attractive location for the residents there. And of course, financially, we intend to contribute to the economy of the city. With this first proposal here, we're hoping this will be the first of many relationships we'll build with the city. We intend to at least build a beneficial relationship with the neighbors as well as the city of Romulus. And here's my profile. I'll be available for any questions.
Any questions for Ms.? No questions? Okay. If there's no questions, motion is in order.
Okay, if I may make the motion then, that for this request, RZ-2017-004, requesting approval to rezone 4.78 acres of property at 37451 Ecorse Road. The description DP number 80-141-099-0010-701 from O1 Office District to C2 General Business District.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe for the RZ 2017-04 request for approval of zoning. Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo,
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion approved.
You. Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The chair will recognize at this time Mr. Harry Kraut.
Thank you. I'm making a resolution for Pastor Woolidge, who turned 96 years old. And Pastor Woolidge is a pastor of First Baptist Church. And happy birthday.
I'll support that.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Makowski for resolution for Pastor Woolridge. Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo? Yes. Chair votes yes, the motion is approved. The Chair also going to recognize Councilman Wadsworth.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. I'd just like to give you a report for the bingo that was held at the for the animal shelter during Pumpkin Week, Pumpkin Festival Week. We raised approximately $1,400, which will all go to the shelter. And I've got to thank the following people: Mayor Burcroft, John Lithograph, Daryl Jameson from J&M Towing, Jake's Auto and Truck Repair, Rose from the Senior Place St. Aloysius that provides the bingo license and advertised in the church paper for us, the Romulus DPW who put up the sign for me, the Romulus Roman newspaper, John Delincic from Burger King, Maria Lambert, and Michael Kasparik from Raymark, and Councilman Harry Kraut. These folks all donated things that we were able to sell, such as pop, water, and chips. And for the bingo workers, of course, the bingo king himself, Joe Wazoo. Without Joe, this wouldn't be possible. And the workers were Midge and Mike Pribilla, Shirley Coates, Rose Connie, Lois Ayers, who was Frank Ayers' wife, Celeste Roscoe, Stacy Page, Jan Lemon, Joanne DeWitt, Sharon Beals, Denise Straw, Allison Johnson, and Kathy Abdo had a list of students. And if you want to give their names, go ahead, because I don't have them, but they did a good job. They sold the hot dogs and the pop and the chips, and they cleaned up, and they were a benefit to us. The only unfortunate thing, this year we didn't have any kittens to adopt out, and I apologize for that, but I think that's going to be taken care of in the next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth. I don't have any report tonight. That concludes Chairperson's report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept your report. I support that.
The motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Choate, to accept the Chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved, and thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Good evening, City Council, Treasurer, Clerk, Deputy Clerk, and audience. Short and sweet quote tonight that came from Coretta Scott King goes as this. The greatest of a community is the most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members. And I picked that one because, as Mr. Wadsworth alluded to already, we had Pumpkin Fest, third weekend, another great success. I mean, so many people to thank, and I know we'll miss people, but obviously the Pumpkin Fest committee and their leadership put on a heck of a 20th celebration. I know I talked to people that were involved in the festival for 20 years, newcomers, vendors, plus we had great weather, just a great weekend. I know the Rotary with their annual light parade. I mean, a ton of people stepping up, DPW, police, fire, Citizens Academy. I mean, it was nice to have everybody coming together for something so positive for our community. I mean, just great time. I mean, I heard record numbers from the car show and excitement from the tractor show and the crafters, and I didn't hear any. They tried some different things, different music, different food venues, and if you have feedback, let the committee know. But just a great time, and it makes you be proud to be a resident or someone that was just visiting the event. So thanks to all who were involved in that. Right at the tail end of the festival, we had a pretty significant fire in our community. So after a long weekend of serving the community in a a festive way, our first responders had to be called to an apartment fire, and again, very proud. The Barrington had a fire. You might have heard even on the news, there's a couple young men that are being nominated for Hometown Hero Awards that helped alert some people. The real blessing is that there was no loss of life or serious injury to humans or animals. The Red Cross stepped up in a big way. I've been told that all those people have been relocated to other places there, but still may need some help. So again, our police and fire and our mutual aid partners really stepped up. Deputy Chief Kraus was kind of coordinating that. Our auto aid agreement we have with the airport fire, they responded. Several of our partners, I'd miss one if I mentioned them all. But so going from a busy weekend with the festival to a very major fire and having the outcome, and at least people were healthy and safe, again, makes you very proud. I mean, you don't want to have something like that happen, but I'm very proud of our team and how they stepped up, as well as our surrounding communities. So thank you very much for that. We do have some events coming up, Roger, so if we could run the video clip on that, and then I'll get into my normal report, please.
Hi everyone, here's what's coming up around Romulus. The Romulus Farmers Market finishes up its season this week on Wednesday at the Historical Park from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Toddler story time at the library is every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. The citywide free yard sale weekend is September 28th through October 1st, and permits are available in the clerk's office. The deadline to enter your scarecrow in the 3rd annual Downtown Scarecrow Contest is this Friday, September 29th. For complete rules and an application, please visit romulusgov.com/scarecrows. The library will hold a free teen movie and pizza party on Saturday, September 30th at 1 p.m., featuring the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Mark your calendars for the city's Fall Fest on Friday, October 6th, the Fire Department Open House on October 8th, and the Senior Center Health Fair on October 10th. Stay tuned for more details on this and any of our other events by visiting our website, romulusgov.com, or like the City of Romulus page on Facebook. Thanks, and have a great week, everybody.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Roger. Now on with our action items for tonight. First item, item A, is a request that was a recommendation that came through Lynn Conway, our purchasing director, and Kathy Ritter, assistant DPW director. And this is a request to concur with the administration and award ITB bid 17/18-06. That's for a 2-year contract for pavement marking services for DPW, and that's to the lowest responsive and most responsible bidder, RS Contracting, Inc. Terms of the contract expire on September 30th, 2019. These funds have been verified and budgeted and are coming out of the major and local street fund traffic service contractual accounts.
So move for bid number 17/18-06 for a 2-year contract for services for agreement for pavement markings.
Support with discussion, please.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Makowski, and this is for the ITB 17/18-06 2-year contractual services agreement for pavement marking. Discussion?
Yes, please. Could you let me know, is this an estimated cost based on projected services, or is it a lump sum?
Estimated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. Next item is item B, and this is a request, a recommendation that came through Roberto Scapitici, our DPW director, and also our legal counsel to review. And this is a request to concur with the administration and adopt the attached resolution designating Roberto Scapitici, our DPW director, as the representative for the City of Romulus for the purposes of the grant agreements.
I'll make the motion.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe for the city representation salt grant resolution. Any discussion? No discussion? Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. Next item is item C. This was a request that came through Suzanne Marino, Financial Services Director, and also our auditing firm, Plant & Moran LLC. This is to concur with the administration and authorize revised city fixed asset policy criteria to the states, basically following their fixed assets recommendation is going to be at least $3,000 and have a useful life of more than 1 year. And is not in inventory, and you'll see the prior attached sheet had what it was and what we're moving it to.
I'll make the motion that we concur with administration and authorize the revision of the city's fixed asset policy criteria to state as follows. A fixed asset must have a value of at least $3,000 and have a useful life of more than 1 year and is not considered inventory.
You supported that, Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
The motion by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Abdo for the fixed assets policy. Any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. Last item for action is a budget amendment, and this is to concur with administration and recognize the reimbursement for work completed by the DPW staff at our Hunt and Bivens site from our CDBG, and recognize the additional overtime costs associated with the project in the attached amount you'll see behind it.
Chair, I'll make that motion for budget amendment 17/18-9 for the general fund.
Support.
The motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Kraut, for budget amendment 17/18-9, general fund. Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Kraut,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, City Council. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. Under 6A1, for second reading and final adoption is Budget Amendment 1718-8, Community Development Block Grant. This budget amendment was introduced to council on September 11th, 2017.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I would like to adopt a resolution that we grant second reading and final adoption to Budget Amendment 1718-8, the Community Development Block Grant.
Support.
Thank you.
The motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Makowski, for second reading and final adoption of budget amendment 17/18-8, Community Development Block Grant. Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. Just have a couple of reminders before I close out my report. Just want to remind everyone that the close of registration, voter registration for the November 7th election is October the 10th, 2017, of course. But also, I've had a lot of questions, can anybody register any individuals to vote? And you can. The forms are available on the state website. We even have that form available on our city's website. But please note, when you register a voter, is that they must vote in person because the whole photo ID law is in place. So let them know they won't be eligible to vote an absentee ballot. But they'll have to vote in person and show that ID. So that's important to know, but you can obtain those forms again on the state website as well as our city website. And also, we want to announce that the ballots are finally in, and the AV ballots will we'll begin mailing them out on October the 5th. That's a Thursday. Our numbers have increased. So we're real excited about that. Initially, we said the 6th, but we're going to start mailing them out the 5th and the 6th because we have so many requests for absentee ballots. Right now, we're a little over 1,900. So the last report I saw, and they're still coming in. So in order to make sure that those ballots are reaching those voters, we're going to have to start on Thursday, putting them in the mail Thursday and Friday to make sure. So we want people to know that if you have requested your AV ballot, and it's still not too late. You could still give us a call and request an application so that you can vote an absentee ballot. The requirements are available on our city website as well as the state website. And I'm also available for any questions, in our office moving forward. Thank you, and that concludes the clerk's report.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
6B is the treasurer's report.
Good evening, council, mayor, clerk, deputy clerk, and audience. I do have one item under my report, and that's to remind everyone that the 2017 summer tax bills are due October 2nd. If you have any questions or if you need a copy, you can call the office at 734-942-7580. At this point, I would not recommend mailing them. Unfortunately, sometimes the mail gets delayed and they have to be made on time. So if you have any questions, again, you can call the treasurer's office and they are due October 2nd. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Treasurer.
Number 7 is public comment, and this is the portion on the agenda that's set aside for those of you that are in the audience. If you have not submitted a request to address council and you would like to address council, please raise your hand. After you've been acknowledged by our chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. We ask that you please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Also, if you have questions for council or the administration, please note that the answers or the responses will take place under unfinished business of the agenda there. So we just want everybody to know that. Sometimes people will come up and ask questions and want a response right then, but your response will be given under unfinished business of the agenda. Mr. Chair, we do have 2 written requests this evening. We have a Barbara Stannis. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay, please approach the podium.
Thanks for listening to me speak. Okay, my name is Barbara Stannis. I live at 33182 Bay Hill Drive, where I had a home built about 12 years ago. And in the past 12 years, I've paid my taxes, and you've never heard from me. I simply lived there. I took care of my property. I paid my taxes, all right? And again, you never heard from me, all right? I did my job, and I expected the city to do its job. That is to run the city fairly and honestly and to use the taxpayers' money wisely. I didn't question how the city did its job. I gotta be honest, I don't think I ever voted in a public election, other than the school millage, all right, even though my kids didn't go to school here. In essence, I simply lived here, all right? Like I say, I paid my taxes. I also kept my mouth shut, believing that if I wasn't willing to be part of the solution, all right, then I certainly didn't have a right to complain about a problem. I'm now retired, and I have come to the realization that as a taxpayer in this city, I not only have the right, all right, to expect a minimum level of public service, I deserve that. A level of service that is exercised both fairly and uniformly throughout the entire community. For the past 4 years, I've put up with a miserable excuse for a contractor named Infinity, all right, and as of today, I'm done. I'm done risking my life simply to pull out of my subdivision. All of this because Infinity wants to sell a home. There's a sandwich sign right out on the edge of Doral that meets Van Born. All right, this is on common land that is owned by the Fairways at Gateway Properties. Okay, it's not owned by Infinity. And this sign blocks, all right, anyone who's turning left out of Doral onto Van Born. Okay, this sign has been up on and off for most of the past 4 years. I have to be honest, I usually use the Beverly Road entrance because I worked at the airport. All right, didn't pay much attention to the Doral entrance. But now that I'm retired, all right, I do use that entrance more. Okay, the sign clearly represents a public safety hazard. Okay, today I took the sign down, put it in my car, took it to the Infinity model office, and presented it to them and told them that it was a public safety hazard. And I was tired of taking the sign down, all right, every time I needed to turn left to be able to get out. You can imagine my surprise when I was informed by Infinity that they could do whatever they wanted. They could put the sign wherever they pleased because the city of Romulus had given them permission to do so. They stated that multiple police officers had been through the development. No police officer had ever mentioned that the sign was in an inappropriate spot. They also hadn't mentioned that Infinity regularly parks in the fire lane, all right, but that they could do whatever they pleased. Now, I'm here to tell you that no sign that Infinity has put up has ever been improved by anyone at either the golf course or the management association. Nobody's given them permission to put up any signs. And in fact, both of those organizations have asked the city to intervene, all right, to have Infinity take those signs down. To date, According to my sources, nothing has been done. As I stated earlier, I've been retired for almost 4 years now. I've never seen a police officer come through my subdivision, but I'm quite sure that those police officers do use Van Born Road. And the sign that's been sitting there at the corner of Doral is easily visible from either direction coming down Van Born Road. I gotta tell you, I don't want to presume to tell the police department how to do their job. I'm quite certain that they're out fighting crime and doing what needs to be done in this community, okay? I simply find it hard to believe that no one noticed that sign. No one in the city, either police officer or otherwise, ever noticed that that sign is clearly blocking the view out of the subdivision. I spoke today with someone called the Ordinance Department. A group of very nice people who assured me that they would investigate this on Tuesday tomorrow, all right? And while I'm quite sure that they're gonna come out and investigate, I'm gonna tell you right now, that sign is right back out on the corner of Doral. When I came to this meeting tonight, that sign is there. Now, they've put it behind the light post instead of in front of it, all right? Maybe that's in deference to me returning the sign to them, all right, but the sign is back out there, all right? You know, conservatively, over the last 12 years, I've paid over $50,000 in property taxes. I've asked you for nothing in return. Again, you do your jobs, and I'm expecting you to do it, okay? Now, I'm telling you, I want the sign gone. There's no reason for that sign to be there. I don't care if they ever sell another house, okay? That's really their problem, but what they can't do is block public safety, and they can't intimate that public safety for them is not a concern. I would expect as a citizen of this city that it is a concern and that they understand that and that they do something about the sign. Thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the next request to speak is Kathy Creeth.
I apologize when I get mad. I cry. When I start crying, I get madder, louder. I live at 15729 Meadow. It's Greenview Heights, Lot 51. I've lived there for 46 years. I have never, ever been told that Sunoco has a right-of-way because they have a gas line running on my 30 feet of my property. They have never come to clean it or anything. And now they come and they cut down 2 trees in that 30 foot. I have paid my house off. I have paid my 30-year mortgage I paid it off. I have paid taxes every month to you guys. And I have never, ever been told that that's there. I knew that Wolverine had one on the other side of my fence because they ruined the fence and they never fixed it when they cut 1 tree down approximately 25 years. Sunoco got a release in 1950 to put 1 gas line there. In 1971, somebody else gave them another one, so now I have 2 gas lines. When I had a daughter that was 15 months and I moved in that house, do you honestly think I would buy a house if I knew that there was a gas line under there? And today, they came this week to my house and they cut my trees down. I asked them to save 1 tree. My daughter died in Rome working for the State Department 2 years ago. Her last thing that her and I did 10 years ago was we planted a tree. We had a little seedling from a maple tree. We put it in a sandbox and we grew it for 3 years until it was big enough that it could make it on its own, and we put it on there where we did not know we weren't allowed to plant. And they cut it down because it was on their property supposedly for 2 feet. Why am I paying taxes for 1/4 of a yard that I can't do anything I want to do? They proceeded to tell me that all the people's garages had to come down, all the sheds had to come down, and then he said, no, they're all there. They're all there, that's perfectly all right. They're not gonna hurt their gas line. But a tree that is 28 feet away from them, and then they keep telling you guys, Mr. Mayor, they keep telling you guys that they come every 3 years. The tree was only 10 years. If they had 10 years old, and if they would have came every 3 years like they said they did, we would have moved the tree. If they told us it couldn't be there, and when it was just a little sprig, we would have picked it up and we would have moved it. But according to Sunoco, they have a right-of-way to my house. They can come into my house. I'm afraid to be at my house by myself. I'm afraid to come home if I go home today and my husband doesn't notice it. I'm afraid of what Sunoco's doing to my yard, or your dog catcher. They turned my dogs into the dog catcher and told them they were vicious. Your dog catcher came and wanted to write me out a ticket because I wouldn't allow them to take their machines back. Their machines are wider than 10 feet. I have 5 feet. I have just put up a garage. It's a year old. There's 5 feet from the edge of my garage to my end of my property, the neighbor's property. Their machine wouldn't fit going down my driveway and over and around to cut the tree down. Their machine won't fit in there because there's only 5 feet. On the other side, it's only 4 feet. And if you could get it between the 4 feet, then it was only 9 feet. Their machine can't get in there. That was not their business. They're allowed to destroy anything they want to. And that they don't have money to repair anything that they break, and that I can go to court and I can spend $10,000 and the gentleman does not care because he ain't going to refix anything. It's just me losing $8,000. So what I'm here for is I want to know who gave them the right of way without telling me. I've lived there 46 years and I have never ever heard that Sunoco has a gas line, which really is 2 now, I've been informed. And I have never, ever heard about it. And they're lying through their teeth when they tell you they're there every 3 years. Because like I said, the tree's only 10 years old. And if they would have been there any other time, we would have moved it. I would not have been happy, but I would have moved it. It was a living memory to my daughter. She passed away. It was the last thing she grew. And they couldn't leave there. And he was going to leave it there until I told him if I would he would move it for me. And I told him I didn't trust him. And that he couldn't get in my backyard to move it. So then he decided it had to be sheared. The whole right side of the tree had to be trimmed because it's growing eastward and a branch might get struck by lightning and land on his precious gas line. So the tree had to be either sheared off or moved. And when I was looking for somebody that I trust to shear the tree, or move the tree for me, then he decided it had to go. And I want to know who passes these out. They got that right away in 1950. Somebody renewed it in 1971. And I was 21 when I moved there, and I was never told. The only thing that I was told was they were going to try a new thing, and my electricity, my phone, and my cable was underground, and you had to have somebody give you your little flags when you buried it, when you built something. We were never told that, and I want to know. I don't feel it's right. I paid a 30-year mortgage, and I'm paying taxes, and Sunoco is reaping the benefits. I cannot use 30 feet. If I want to put a pool, if I want to put a tennis court, if I want to put a badminton kit, I'm not allowed to. They have priority on 1/4 of my yard. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was the last written request.
Any other comments from the audience? Yes.
Good evening. My name is Jocelyn Smith. I'm one of the residents that was affected by the fire in the Barretons last Sunday. And I'm here because I am absolutely desperate for some help. I lost everything in the fire, and I'm not really worried about furniture and clothing, stuff like that. I'm concerned about my belongings as far as every memory that I have of my mother, all of my kids, baby pictures, everything is in that apartment and it's been condemned. They're not allowing anyone to go in, but I'm wondering, is there anyone or anything that can be done that can help me at least retrieve some of those things? I don't have anything. I don't have a picture, anything. Like I say, I'm not worried about clothing, furniture, anything. I'm talking about memories. This is my whole family history in that apartment. My mom passed away in 2011, and they gave me pretty much all the stuff that she had, and it's in that apartment. I'm wondering, can somebody please help me out? Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ms. Williams?
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Clerk and Treasurer. Virginia Williams. I noticed, I was at the laundromat there on Wayne Road, and right there on the side of the building closest to Wayne Road, the laundromat right there in the little shopping strip, there's a piece of metal. It's almost like, it's probably about this wide. And it was a young lady, her mother was in the laundromat and she was playing and she was running and wasn't watching, and that metal stuck into her head. And big gash. So someone needs to go over there, whoever owns that building, they need to have that cut off before someone else gets seriously hurt. So I'm sure that piece of metal belongs to whoever owns that building. So I would appreciate if the ordinance or someone went over there, because, I mean, she had a pretty deep gash. So before someone else get injured, please send someone over. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Gina?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Gina Wilson Stewart. I just had a question on item 5D. It's just, it says the budget amendment, and it just says general fund. I just want to know what that was.
Okay, thank you, Gina. Any other comments? Ms. Webb?
I'm sorry, I'm coming after so much heart-mending conversation that was just stated. Ms. Clerk, Ms. Treasurer, Council, Mayor, I just have a comment to Mr. Wadsworth and a question which our city treasurer can answer with a yes or no. So, first of all, Mr. Wadsworth, 2 weeks before the Pumpkin Fest, my cat had 3 beautiful kittens.
I don't want any of them. I got 2.
And no, I donated them to the animal shelter. Did come and pick them up, and they did say, "Oh, this is great. Maybe we can adopt them out during the Pumpkin Fest." So apparently, someone must have gotten them. They were gorgeous. And for Ms. Page, the tax is October the 2nd. Now, I know there's a box outside the city hall, or they can come in. What about the kiosk?
So, yes, there are kiosks that are available to drop payments.
Okay.
They're at Rite Aid, and the closest one is in Taylor. So before you leave today, I'll actually get you a card. They're sitting on the counter right in front of the treasurer's office.
Okay.
But if anybody is interested in that, I had made an announcement at the last council meeting, but there's a lot of locations, and we can get them a card, or they can call us and we can tell them the nearest location.
Okay, then that way we can pay our taxes at those locations.
Absolutely.
Okay.
As well as your electric bill too.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? No other comments from the audience? Okay, comments closed.
Okay, number 8 is unfinished business.
Unfinished business? Mayor?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I can respond to a couple of them. There was a question about the signs with Infinity Homes being placed in, sound like in a right-of-way area. The city didn't approve any of those signs. I'm not sure what they told the residents, but I'll definitely dive into it. If they're illegal signs, we'll work with ordinance and have them removed. I have heard that there were signs. I thought they had complied in the past, but sounds like they're back out there again. So I will make sure we address that and get your report back on what happens on that one. My understanding of the issue with the Sunoco and right-of-ways, those are not granted by the city either. Those are done by the state, so we can dig into the details of when that was put into place, but just like we just had one with Wolverine that came through and expanded with another pipeline, those were driven by the state. There's a state process for it. There would have had to been something that would have triggered some landowners along the way, but we can find out the details of when that happened. I'm sure the state would have record of that, but again, there's no local authority that the city of Romulus would grant for that. That's a state process, but I'll make sure we get the address and respond to you. Julie did step out with the lady from the Barringtons, and we'll see what we can do. All I can tell you as far as the report that I was told from fire is when they have a structure fire that was that severe, they do walk in and assist some people to get some of their belongings and especially sentimental things that they may lose. I don't know to what extent they do that. Maybe we can try to work and find a way to have some assistance to go in. Their concern is when there's quite damage to the structure, they have to be careful not to risk lives of first responders and others that are going in to try to get items. So we'll try to do the best we can to find out what we can do and find out what apartment and what part of the building. But I know that they did go through that process already with letting people go in with guidance and with someone there from fire to help them. But to what extent this part of the building is, I don't know. But we'll exhaust every resource. I feel very bad for the lady, and I know that especially losing both my parents, once you basically have those memories is all you have. So we'll do the best we can to try to retrieve what we're allowed to retrieve and help that family out. And the last item was there was a question about 5D, I believe it was. And I can tell you that basically came as a budget amendment because we had done some work and the amount was $7,000. So this was to recognize a reimbursement for the DPW work that was done that came. So basically think of it as that grant funding our workers to do that work. So that's all that was. And that made sense to do that. So that covered some additional overtime and costs that were funded through the grant from CDBG. Hopefully that covered it.
Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, I'll be as very brief as I can. Number one, Mayor, I hope that the fire department does show compassion and heart to take her in there, or anybody else that lost their stuff. The first lady that talked, these builders, they come, they build, they go, they take their profit and leave. These folks stay here, they live here, they sleep here. And, as a retired cop, no builder, only local governments have a right to put up signs for egress, or stop, go, yield. And I'm sure that we're going to make sure that, they're there to build, and build good and to leave, but they're not there to cause our business a problem. The lady that lives down on Meadow, were they in your backyard cutting the tree, or is they're outside the backyard? Okay, and utility, and that sickens me because companies, unfortunately, there are utility companies that do have a right to the easement, but there should be some procedure where they give the homeowner, tell them we're coming instead of, knocking on your door and saying we're here, and you have no idea. Well, that's a reasonable time, 9:30 at night, isn't it? I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. And I mean, it's been a long time since Since I can remember that there's been an issue with easements, but this is the first one that's come up, and they've got to be told that they've got to respect the people that live in these houses. It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And I'm sure we'll look into it.
They told you that they have to come every 3 years. And like I said, the tree was 10 years old. If they had been there prior to this time.
And that's the same story that we get from Wayne County, that they come and they clean the ditches every year. Same story. That's I feel for what they did to you. I really do.
And they won't clean them. They're more Wolverine. That's not their job. Our job is to pay the taxes and clean the weeds.
Well, and our job is to make sure that your property is respected, Mayor.
We'll make sure, I can assure you that we had no, I had
And
no
I'm sure the
communication
mayor will do this.
with Sunoco, as far as their maintenance schedule every 3 years or so. There's supposed to be a process for notification. I can't speak for them, and it sounds like they fell down on it, but we'll sure find out the process for the easement, and what they're allowed to do by law, and report back to council for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the young lady came here I've been working with, and I'm hoping that we can find some sort of resolution, but I know there is a safety issue involved. Jocelyn said she's not concerned about, she has nothing. She's not concerned about anything, but I am starting to get stuff for her. So if anybody, they lost everything. Jocelyn was my student and her daughter was my student. And if you have any furniture you don't need, anything like that, she's starting from scratch. She really doesn't have a support system here. So if you have anything, I would appreciate you giving me a call. My cell phone number is on the website. And I will, as soon as we get her in an apartment, we still haven't gotten her back into an apartment yet. So that's why I haven't been actively, we want to wait till we get her in. She's going to need everything. I think the fire department is getting beds, if I'm correct. We got beds for them, but there's still dresser, all that stuff is gone. She's living in an apartment. And so if anybody has any extra items, household items, old furniture, contact me. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
There's no more unfinished business. We'll move on to number 9 is new business. Number 10 is communication. Number 11 for approval is warrant 17-18.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I'd like to adopt a resolution to pay warrant 17-18 in the following funds. General Fund, $173,518.06. Major Street Fund, $113,118.74. Local Street Fund, $66,657.47. Cable TV, $4,733.58. Merriman Road Special Assessment, $8,894.01. Oakwood SAD, $199.87. CDBG, $1,859.75. 911 Service Fund, $9,369.28. Law Enforcement, $2,082.54. Narcotics Forfeiture State, $1,680.89. Library Fund, $5,296.69. DDA, $20,822.41. Tifa District 2, $6.90. Court Building Construction Fund, $2,045.25. Water and Sewer Fund, $116,048.62. Motor Vehicle, $29,444.34. Technology Services, $3,187.50. Retirees Insurance Benefits, $192,216.34. Property and Liability Self-Insurance, $664.05. Revolving Fund, $96,742.62. Delinquent Personal Property Fund, $52,726.46. Payroll fund, $199,345.63, for a grand total of $1,100,661.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut, to pay warrant number 17-18 for $1,100,661. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, warrant number 17-18 will be paid.
Number 12 is adjournment.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Mikowski for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.